Hi, welcome to the He Said, She Said with Dr. Q program. This is an opportunity for us to talk about marital issues in the perspective of men and women. The goal of this program is to help the man and the woman to understand each other based on how God wired them, not to compete with one another, but to complement each other. In the first episode, I had the chance to speak to a panel of distinguished men and ask them questions about marital issues without getting into a fight, which normally happens when women ask their men. So the first episode was too short to cover a lot of topics, so I decided to invite the same panel of men to join me and give light to certain hot topics in marriage to women like me. So the women out there watching this show, I'm going to solicit these guys to answer your questions. So stay tuned and join me in this discussion. So I'd like to welcome once again our panel of handsome, dashing, and honorable men. Mr. Boni de Jesus, Mr. Ed Patron, Mr. Dominic Marasigan, Mr. Paolo Sitaca, and Mr. J. Aquino. Yay! So welcome to this virtual sala or living room. So guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know how busy you all are and you chose to be here and help answer important questions that women like me are trying to figure out about men. So just a recap, last week we talked about ego, how ego is important for men and the macho image and how we women need to respect that. And then how important physical attraction is to you, how, the women, the married women should be, fixing themselves up, and how important communication is and the timing, when to talk to the men, and when's the bad time, when it's a good time, and all that. So for those who missed the episode, just click the link below and you can actually watch the first episode. So, go straight to the questions. So I go back a little bit to the topic of ego. Kasi I know how ego is quite important for all of you. And it's also important for you to always be right, or at least seem to be right. So my question is, how will a wife deal with a husband who seems to be a know-it-all without hurting the ego of their husband? This was actually asked by one of my girlfriends. If they're married to a man who's sumobra naman yung ego, who wants to be right all the time, how can the wife actually express herself without the ego of the husband? Anyone can answer? Yeah.
Oh, I'll try. For starters.
Sige, Sige.
I think the couple must together watch out for that big word, ego. Because for all you know, one might be having the same issues which remain unchecked. In other words, if a husband or a wife thinks that the ego of the partner is repulsive, it could also be because of his or her pride, hindi ba? Kasi ayaw niyang patalo.
Yeah.
Kaya it's important for the spouse, for the couple to always watch their own reactions to how the other acts or responds to any given situation. What I'm espousing is that we must not react negatively and continuously talk about it. Kasi, yun nga the solution, my wife is a different, especially when we were younger. I think I mentioned na in the last episode na silent treatment eh. Because there are things na pwedeng mag-react ka or mag-respond without saying anything. And to me, that had been very effective.
Powerful. Really?
Powerful.
So you
Very
advise the
powerful.
wives to just keep silent
Yeah, I think
and pray.
timing is very important eh. But when you get to know your partner
Oo.
over the years, you know when to react or respond. The timing is always important. You know, yung first couple of years, that could be challenging. It could be
Yeah.
difficult, I must admit. No? Keeping your ego or your pride in check. But over time, I think the relationship builds up. And one would know how to time his or her response to what she or he thinks as overly proud spouse. That's my thought.
Does validating your man help a lot? Like, parang praise him, o baka naman ma-over lalo yung ego. Mayabang na nga eh, lalo pang yayabang.
I think kami, we're also looking for affirmation. Like,
Affirmation.
it cannot be like, it's always like, tama ka ngayon, mali ka ngayon. It's not going to be helpful in the relationship if it's always like, tama ka ngayon, mali ka ngayon. It's more of affirmation. In areas where the guy is right, he must be affirmed. In sometimes kasi, it's more of like, pag mali, napo-point out. Pag tama, hindi napo-point out. No? There are those cases. And then, we have to acknowledge that there are minor issues and there are major issues. No? There are times when we just let it go, even if the guy is wrong. Because there are minor things that need not be discussed. All right.
Yeah.
And also, it's not a matter of convincing the other party. Sometimes it's just a matter of being understood. That's why I learned that. I also learned that we should learn how to communicate, to be understood, not to convince. Because it's always about convincing the other party. Usually, there's going to be a clash kasi magkaiba kayo ng perception, magkaiba kayo ng background. No? And sometimes, the issue is, I was not understood. That's the issue. It's not that I was not able to convince her, but simply because I was not understood. So the communication must dwell on being understood. Kasi if it's a matter of trying to convince one another, usually there's a clash. There's a clash of opinions. One party goes to the extreme, the other party goes to the other extreme in order to convince one another. Samantalang the point is just to be understood, because you will never be able to agree on everything. That's why there should be minor issues, major issues, and then affirmation on a lot of things para hindi personalan yung mali ako ngayon, tama ako ngayon.
Yeah. Oo, parang competition siya.
Parang competition.
Parang keeping points. Oo.
Yeah,
keeping
right.
a score on when you're right and when you're wrong.
All right.
Okay. So, any other comments? Kasi I'll go to the next question. Kasi
Paolo,
Paolo. Okay, Paolo. Yes.
In my case, because the personality profile of my wife and I were very high on correctness. So the argument always is, who is more right? Ganun yung nature ng arguments. But the way I've experienced what worked for us as husband and wife is when she begins to ask me questions.
Mm.
Sometimes she asks me leading questions.
Oo. Oo.
So it's particularly leading questions are a great strategy for her to use on me because
Mm-mm.
it's like making a suggestion in the guise of a question.
Oo
So
nga.
that to me is a very, very good strategy that she used.
Yeah, actually, that's a practical application of what Bonnie mentioned a while ago na to speak to be understood. So the wife needs to ask questions so that she'll understand what the
Yeah,
man
good
is
point.
saying, right?
Yeah, right.
Kasi how else would the wife know if she doesn't ask
Yes,
questions?
that's good. Yeah,
And she needs to ask the right questions,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Correct. And to add
Okay.
to that, one more
Yes.
practical thing, she was trained to keep the unity. So the way she asks the question, even if we have diverse points of view,
Mm.
she always tries to find the common ground. And that to me is also a win-win.
Oo,
It's not
tama.
about who's right or wrong.
Mm-mm.
Work how can we come together to look at the problem or the issues from a common point of view.
Yeah.
So that
Oo.
has worked for us tremendously.
Yeah. Kasi sometimes the wives ask their husbands questions that are kinda parang insulting also.
Mhm.
Yung ganon na lalo nang nagsha-shut off yung lalaki.
Mhm.
Tapos on defense na siya.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Jay, you
Yeah,
wanna add?
I just want to add to what the others mentioned about one is communication. Showing respect, the manner that
Mm.
you ask question,
Mm.
your wife asks a question, and then more importantly, which everything boils down to yung trust nyo sa isa't isa.
Mm-mm.
Affirmation is critical because it brings trust with each other.
Mm-mm.
Kasi pag may nagawang maganda yung husband, then i-affirm
Oo.
nung wife.
Yeah.
Pag may nagawa namang hindi masyadong maganda, and when the wife calls the attention of the husband, hindi masyadong ma-offend yung husband kasi na-build na yung trust ng dalawa.
Yes, tama. Mm-mm. Plus, it's also parang do you think it's worth saying that hindi tayo magkalaban na, magkakampi tayo?
Correct.
Yung parang you
Dapat
agree.
ma-establish yun
Oo,
sa
yun ang
start.
oo.
Yeah.
Hindi tayo magkalaban na. So I
Yeah. So
might say
whatever I
something that
tell you
oo.
that might offend you, no, hindi tayo
Oo.
magkalaban.
Oo,
Correct.
ganun. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now I go to the next question, which is also sensitive because it's quite common in the Filipino setting or in our culture, no. Kasi matriarchal yung society natin, and a lot of the women, Filipino women, are very gifted. They're leaders in their industry, and they end up sometimes earning more than their husbands. So how does a man take on his leadership when the wife earns more than her? it you can speak from, not necessarily from your experience, but what's your take on this question?
I'd like to go first.
Yes, Paolo.
Early on in our marriage, my wife was earning more than I was. She was running a successful school and a tutorial center. And that did not affect me. So, in fact, it motivated me
Mm.
to earn some more. Then again, I discovered Proverbs 31 and describing the woman there.
Mm.
And when I read through that, it seems like the Proverbs 31 woman earns more than the husband because the husband is a publican,
Mm.
government servant. So he governs. So, and the wife was the one who was the merchant, the trader, the one who runs the household, the one who buys real estate, etc. So that gave me a lot of peace. There is no pressure for me to really, when I say no pressure to outdo my wife, if she's really doing well. Why should I pull her down? It's a blessing to me. It's a blessing to our household. It's a blessing to our family. So I was glad I came across Proverbs 31 quite early. So that's
Nice.
my sharing.
Okay. Who else wants to add to what Paolo said? I know Boni has great insights on this issue.
Medyo mahirap i-handle yun kasi
Oo.
the money side is one of the three problems in marriage.
Yes.
Diba sabi? Communication, sex, and money are the three usual issues, no? So there's got to be agreement when it comes to money, no? Especially if the wife is the one shouldering the expenses of the family. There's got to be an agreement that is not that should not be a factor that will determine who will be responsible ultimately for leadership.
Yes.
That's a very ticklish issue kasi depende kasi that's why it must be discussed. I don't want to elaborate, but it has been, I have had so many observations regarding that. No? It must be discussed kasi it could be a source of insecurity as far as the husband is concerned. It's not discussed, di ba? Like he might feel that he feels like insecure about the leadership. He cannot lead because he's not the one earning money. There's so many issues now that can come up. Therefore, it must be discussed that, agree first on this issue, because money does not dictate who the leader is.
Yes.
Who is ultimately responsible, but sometimes it gets into the picture really.
Yeah, a lot of times in a lot of marriages, I know. So sige, who else wants to share?
I just want to support that kasi in marriage or my experience and my children now, I am blessed with having had that occasion to discuss first. Early on, like Paolo, my wife was earning more, a lot more, no, and to us it never was a problem because early on in our marriage we agreed who would handle the money ba? You have yours, I have mine, and we have ours. That's the pot for the family. And to the point of Bon, we said that we must have joint agreement on, for example, ito trivia, major buys. I cannot buy a car, for example, without her concurrence. I cannot buy a new sala set or a sofa. She cannot do that without my agreement. Sometimes it gets to the point na, oops, ang mahal nito, bibilin ba natin to o postpone mo na? So, early on, dapat mapag-agreehan talaga. And I agree with Kuya. It's very ticklish, but for so long as both spouse treat the relationship not based on money, I think it will go a long way because it really is not.
Yeah.
Your spouse is not a competitor. He or she is a partner.
Yes.
And if the mindset is like that, madaling ma-resolve. Mas madali na, hindi ko sasabing madali. Madali nang ma-handle yung ticklish issue na yun.
Okay.
I think.
So, medyo related yung next question ko. Is leadership taking charge of everything even if you're not gifted with it? Ganyan
No.
ba ang concept nyo ng leadership? Yung,
No.
If
kunyari,
you're not gifted with it, submit to your
yes.
wife. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
Tama.
okay. So, kunyari, you're not gifted with handling finances. Kahit na you're earning more.
Yep.
Does leadership mean taking charge of the finances, even if you're not good with it?
No.
Absolutely
No.
not.
No.
No.
I
It
believe
shouldn't. It shouldn't.
correct.
Oo.
If I may, it's playing to strengths. That's important.
Yes. Okay.
So I'd like to um I'd like to agree with Ed a while ago. He mentioned something very important. At the beginning of marriage, there is a certain agreement between the spouses. And in our case, that happened. Who is Minister of Finance, who is Minister of External Affairs, Internal Affairs, etc. So it was delegated. So there was a clear role definition between the two of us. That helped a lot. And I cannot overemphasize the concept of team. So we are a team. And right now, that concept of team has spilled over to our only child. So when we come into an agreement, pulling the concept of team has always been a unifying factor. So even if somebody gets, oh, why did you act this way? That's not how we act as a team. So it's very very strong as a concept. And even between the two of us, ni Gladys, we try to be one team. Particularly, it's very important for us to be one team first at home. It's easier to do it when we're one team at home to be one team outside the home. So that has worked a lot.
So in other words, parang find each other's gifting.
Yes.
No,
Definitely.
kunyari, ito yung area na magaling siya. Siya yung ano. So you actually, ikaw pa rin yung leader as a man, but you delegate it.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And in one sense, you submit, no? Parang you submit to the, the gift of your wife. I mean, yung gifting niya, the way she does it, kasi mas magaling siya dun eh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we were given different talents, right? So yung wife mo may talents, ikaw din, iba yung talents natin. If you can just relate this to, well, these are all men, basketball. Previously, yung Chicago Bulls, alam naman natin lahat about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
There's a coach who is the leader.
Yeah.
And Phil Jackson was the coach, but Phil Jackson doesn't necessarily mean that the best player. So dinedelegate niya yung responsibilities sa team. So ganun din sa marriage, parang okay, sa finance mas magaling yung wife ko, and then mas magaling din siya magturo sa mga kids about studies, and then maybe the husband is good at something else, maybe grocery or whatever. So ayun, kanya-kanyang responsibility.
Nice. Okay, so I'll go to a very kind of difficult topic also, especially for women. It's about submission. A lot of women don't like that word, yung submit to your husband. I would like to know, what does submission look like to you?
Who wants to go first?
For me, the word for that is respect.
Respect.
Yeah.
Okay. So parang ano yon? That's parang you find it synonymous to respect. Submission is respect. Yeah, that's good. Any other?
I have three things about submission. First will be it means letting you lead. Second will be making you feel that you are a leader.
Yes.
And then third will be you are cheering your man to become to because he is the leader.
Yes.
So those three things
Nice.
parang encapsulates the meaning of submission. Siyempre mahirap talagang i-accept even kung ako maging babae and then sabihan mo ko about submission. I will feel the same. It's really a very strong word.
Yeah.
Yeah, pero those three items yun lang siguro yung summary about submission for me.
Thanks. Wow. Nice. Who
I
else?
add, if I
Yes,
may add, no. I think given the points of view of Bon and Jay, I really think that submission is not something that the man demands from his wife. It is not something that you demand. It's something that you earn. And so therefore, yung punto de vista na respect is also something that you don't demand. Kailangan naman maging kagalang-galang ka. And how
Respectable
do you
ka.
earn that? You must show your love. You must show gentleness as well. Manage your pride. Be humble. Mahirap to. Big words sabi nila. Pero that's the secret eh. Hindi naman mahirap magpakumbaba. Lalo na kung yung pinapagpapakumbabaan ay partner mo habang buhay. Mahirap. Hindi naman siya mahirap. So again, in summary, I'd really like to say na you don't demand submission. You don't demand respect. You earn it.
Yeah, right. Nice. I'd like to hear from Dom what submission looks like to you.
For me, submission is more understanding. It's not where you ultimately give submission to everything that you expect the woman to submit to everything that you request. It's basically like marriage is a teamwork. It's not some individual thing that akong tama lagi. It's more of teamwork. So basically, it's basically give and take.
So how will a woman submit to her man when he makes wrong decisions?
I'd like to take a stab at that.
Here, maybe if a man makes a wrong decision, I don't expect the woman to go with the wrong decision. You like in everything, like in marriage, the most important thing, as Boni said, was about communication. You had to communicate that at the same point, like we were talking about before. You don't say to the guy outright, "Oy, malika." I say right now, right there, the guy's gonna have his defenses up, his wall up. So the first thing you have to do is just basically communicate it in a general way. Maybe you did this wrong. Maybe look at it this other way. Maybe alternatively, that the woman should not directly say, "Ay, malika, dapat ganito." You can kindly suggest it, pero I don't expect the woman to submit to something that a guy made a wrong decision about. I mean, they would talk about it. Like I said, if a woman disagrees what he's saying, then there's a form, or there's basically a communication saying, well, you would bring up her point, and the guy would also assess what she's bringing up.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yeah, I'd like to add.
Yes.
Support. Even if there was a wrong decision. Again, on ego management, if the woman comes in and says, "I told you so," it doesn't really help the situation. Right? So, but even if she finds a way to support, even at the time of the wrong decision, and then when I say support, really, okay, so what can we do now? What do we need to do a course correction?
Yeah.
What kind of leading questions again? So then you come in as a helpmate, really.
Does it am I right in saying that to allow the husband to make mistakes is also a big deal for you? Yung parang imbis na sisihin ka, just allow you to make mistakes. You did naman due diligence, but you mali eh. I mean, it was not intentional, right? Oo.
I think, Doc, it works both ways.
Oo.
So we let each other grow and make mistakes.
Yeah.
Besides, if my wife was part of the decision, has a stake on that decision too.
Oo,
So
tama.
then it's not that I'm wrong and she's right. So, but there are times when we differ in terms of points of view, and I still make a decision and I'm wrong. Then I have to admit it, own up to it like a man, and it's time for me to listen. So, ganun eh.
Yeah.
Kasi I don't have all the answers eh, di ba?
Yeah. So the pointers for wives is not to rub it in. Nagkamali na nga eh.
No.
Di ba? It's a no-no. Okay, so when the wives, kasi di ba, when the wives submit to you, does that put any pressure on you? Kasi we submit to you eh. So it means you have to be right, right? May pressure ba yun sa inyo? Wala.
No.
It's easier to love.
Tsaka, if I may add,
Talaga, easier to love, ah.
Kasi di ba, love and then submit. It's hard to submit when the head does not love you or the husband does not love you.
Oh.
In the same way, the reverse is true.
Kaya nga. So, chicken or the egg? Which came first? Kailangan sabay. Okay, Ed, you were gonna say something. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to add to what you were saying that, I think it's not entirely correct to expect that the spouse will always be correct. More often than not, he will make a mistake. And that is where the respect that Bon is describing should come in early on in marriage. We must accept the fact that marriage is the union of two imperfect individuals.
Yes.
And having said that, magkakamali talaga. Importante may respeto at nag-usap para walang sisihan.
Oo. So yun, importante yung expectation. Kasi for a wife to expect the husband to be right all the time and to make the right decisions all the time is too much of an impossible expectation. I mean, no man can meet that. Kasi ganun din naman ng wife, nagkakamali din, di ba? So respect is really very important. Okay, so ang question ko naman next is, how does it make a man feel when the woman tells him to do something? What does it do to your ego? Ego na naman. When a woman tells you to do something, like kunyari, I'll give you an example. Linisin mo naman yung banyo. Yung ganon. O kaya, tapon mo naman yung basura. What does it do to your ego when the woman tells you to do something? Or it's the manner it's
It's
said.
the manner and the timing, I guess. Like, a man kasi is usually thinks big things. Or long term. A man thinks long term, big things. And we kind of miss the small details. That's the nature. I don't know, but in general, my observation is men think long term. They're planners. They look at the big picture. Now.
Yeah.
It depends on the timing. Let's say the woman comes in at the time when the man is working, and the woman says, tapon mo naman yung basura, or do this and do that. May irritation yon kasi may ginagawa. So it's
timing is important.
Timing is important. Or I really want to help, no? That's why isipin ko. Kasi sometimes it is like corrective. Like, you don't do it that way, do it this way. It's corrective, no? These is a cause of irritation kasi instead of saying, gawin mo to, while he's doing it, kino-correct siya habang ginagawa niya, no? That could be an issue, no? That could be an issue. That could be like a major irritation, di ba?
Okay.
Kasi ano yun nga, ego pa rin, di ba? Ego pa rin. And as I said, there are minor, as far as men is concerned, there are minor issues and there are major issues.
Yeah. Okay.
Here, like for example, I my experience is one time, my ex-wife asked me to vacuum the house, which was fine with me. But then when I did it, she looked at the way yung guhit ng vacuum. Diba? He goes, why? Bakit ka na guhit ng vacuum? Dapat pantay. I go, what? It's clean. I go, and I see that's what I'm saying. What are you going to do with that? For example, sometimes I had no issue of, let's say, she would ask me, "Can you buy me my tampon?" And for me, I didn't take. It's not for me. For me, I didn't have no problem with that. I know some for some of my male friends, they say, "What, you do that? You buy tampons for your wife?" I go, yeah. What's wrong with that? I mean, if I'm in the grocery store and she requests, since I'm there, I might as well buy it.
Okay. So, I'm just going to take on what Boni said a while ago na men tend to think big. Pinalikan talaga no? No, I think it's just if I would analogize it, I think men are like drones and women are like GoPros. So, ang lalaki nakikita niya yung parang drone, overview.
Yeah. Overview.
Overview, yes. Malaki, ganyan. Kami, GoPro kami. GoPro means, very detailed, ganyan.
Day to day.
Micromanagers kami.
Yeah, correct.
Oo. So, sometimes, those become sources of conflict.
Yeah.
Because women don't understand why you don't see. Like, ang dumi na nga ng banyo natin, hindi mo pa nakikita. Parang, do I have to tell you pa? Yung ganon. So, sometimes, how will a woman make you do something without appearing to be a leader? That's a question, a big question. How can we make you do something without appearing to be the leader?
Maybe, like for that example, like if she wants me to throw the trash, like maybe start with, as Boni mentioned, it's the manner and the timing, right? And then your point is a good representation of being a drone and a GoPro. Maybe in that case, she can start by, is it okay? Are you busy if I ask you to to go to the grocery or throw the trash? Is it the right timing? So maybe she can start that way so that parang the man will feel respected and the timing is settled.
Yeah, I think it boils down to respect pa rin di ba? What Boni said. Respect. Respect the time of the man, and also respect yung ano niya, yung kung may ginagawa siya, di tumiming ka.
Yeah, minsan nga nakaka-guilty yan when you are asked that way. Okay ba na itapon mo to ngayon? Or mamaya? Minsan nakaka-guilty. Oh, sige, itapon ko na yan. Sometimes we feel guilty pag gano'n. Kasi parang ang gandang approach sa akin.
Oh, yan palang secret. Okay, sige, apply ko yan.
We plan kasi, ako in my case, I plan my activities Like, I would rather clean the bathrooms. We have about 4 bathrooms in the house.
Wow.
I clean the bathrooms on weekends. But if I'm asked to clean the bathroom now, I cannot do it. That will be a source of irritation. So
I
I
see.
plan it. I clean the basement. I throw the garbage every night. So
Uh,
if I can plan it,
yeah.
I have no problem. But if
Yeah.
I'm told like I'm doing something to do it, like that's a different story.
Kasi a lot of the wives, they want it done now. Yung
Yeah.
ganon. Kasi we're very spontaneous eh. Yung kailangan, kasi di ba parang minsan nga kalat kami, yung utak namin nasa kitchen, yung iba nasa work, yung iba yung ganon. So, and when we want things done, we want it now.
And yeah, and then women, you tend to be micromanagers because you look at the small details now. So I feel like I don't want to be micromanaged. I don't want to be told now, and you do it now.
Yeah. Oo. So, ano pa rin? Respect pa rin yun. Okay. So, any other comments? Wala na. Okay. What can a woman do to help you take the lead? Kasi I know a lot of wives who are kind of strong and they're very gifted, smart, career women. How can a wife allow the man to lead? What should she stop doing or what should she do?
It's hard in some cases, no? Because I've seen it. Leadership for a man is not easy. And it's not easy to. I think the first thing is appreciation, even if it's hard. Even if it's hard to do, is appreciation. Because some men are not really leaders. That's the problem, no? In many marriages, especially if he's not earning enough, he feels insecure. There's so many issues. So the first thing is appreciation, even if appreciation is hard to do.
So that's one, no? That's one pointer. Appreciate your man. Any other pointers for women? What can a woman do to help your man take the lead? Should, sige.
Go ahead, Doc.
I was gonna say, should the woman stop doing certain things to allow the man to do it? Yung parang kahit na kaya niyang gawin, hindi niya gagawin para lang gawin nung lalaki. For example,
wait. When you do, when the woman does that, it's basically saying that what if expecting the man to do something, and if the man doesn't get that message, then what's going to happen? It has to be verbally somehow expressed, not by inferring that if I don't do this, will the man step up? Because like everything, like Bonnie said, well, about communication in a marriage, you have to communicate verbally, not non-verbally. Say if it's not done by the man, most likely the woman would be expecting that the man will do it, but then if it doesn't get done, then she'll be what? Anong mangyayari doon?
So, what's the suggestion? What should we do to help the man take the lead? Sometimes kasi ang problem kasi with other, some wives that I know, the moment they talk to their husband, it becomes a fight. Like, how will you say that in a way that you're not asking him to take the lead? Kasi insulto rin yun eh. What do you think? I'm not taking the lead. Yung ganon.
Kasi
Let me try.
Yes.
Baka sa akin, as this conversation goes, I think lalong na-highlight sa akin yung importance talaga ng meaningful conversation, continuing communication. Because I think, especially kung naka 2 or 3 years ka na, this allowing a guy to lead takes on a more spontaneous gesture on the part of the woman. Dapat to effortless. Kasi mahalata naman ng gayo. Binabola naman ata ako nito. Or sobrang naman ata tiwala niya. You know what I'm saying? So, I believe that something like that, to your point, Doc, it's something that comes naturally out of the respect. It's not something that you need to be prodded on to show and ask him to lead. Which is why, yung sa point ni Dominic na verbal, kailangan talaga mag-communicate. Or the guy can also initiate. What do you think of this? I wanted to do this. Do you agree with this? Can we do this? I mean, asking question to the spouse or to your partner doesn't mean that you're no longer the leader. You're allowing her to be a partner in the decision, which I think is also an important component of that relationship. Hindi puro ikaw lang. Parang you take also her position into consideration. In the first place, sa atin naman itong dalawa para sa family to. So share tayo. I may eventually make that ultimate decision or that final decision. Pero share tayo dito. Ganun. I think.
Does it help when the wife asks the husband to like comment on a certain like a decision that she needs to make? Kunyari, alam na niya yung tamang gagawin niya. Does it help to ask the husband for his opinion? Or what do you think yung ganon? Pero at the back of the wife mind, alam na niya eh what she thinks is gonna work. But does it help when she still asks the husband, what do you think of what I think?
For me, that's very affirming. It helps. It takes two kasi, like with our earlier years of marriage, I had a hard time taking the lead. That was my struggle. I was not leading at all. That was a problem for me, but I have to grow. So you cannot avoid it. You cannot avoid clashes, but in the end, the unity must be maintained.
Yeah.
It must be accepted that we have problems in leadership. It must be accepted, and it must not be a cause for a man feeling that he is being compared with the other guys, or he's being compared with the other couples, the way he leads. There must be no such feeling. That's why the atmosphere must be more of affirming, appreciating, and communication. It must be acknowledged that we are all growing. Because at the outset, it should not be expected like, ganyan na ka na eh, ganyan ka kasi eh, no? There should be no such statements or something like that. Or a feeling that, the other party. Especially when he feels like he's being compared. It's very tough to grow. No. There must be an atmosphere of encouragement.
Yeah.
I'd like to add.
Yes, Paolo.
It's really a growth process, and it's a journey between the husband and the wife. So the husband has to grow into that leadership role, while the wife grows into that submissive role. So there's a dynamic there that needs to happen, and it may be challenging for both parties, particularly when the wife is a natural leader and the husband is
Yeah.
king.
Yeah.
But again, as they grow into the relationship, knowing each other, what the levers, the buttons, the psyche, the profile, everything. So
Mm-mm.
I, for example, need to grow into my wife being the eldest. So she makes a lot on her own.
Mm-mm.
And then successful businesswoman, etc.
Mm-mm.
So, but still, I told her I married you for the very traits that I've seen in you. You have been trained in a certain way. So I appreciate that about you. It should not rob you of who you are.
Mm-mm.
So, ang isa pang important dun, Doc, is yung the post-mortem whenever something wrong happens.
Mm-mm.
So, do we discuss it? Where did I go
Mm-mm.
wrong? How can I grow?
Mm-mm.
How can I improve my decision-making skills, etc.
Mm-mm.
So again, in the concept of team, in the concept of growing into the roles of each one, that constant dialogue, as Ed said a while ago, is very, very critical. Communication.
Mm-mm.
And sometimes the conversation gets into something like, kasi nung bata ako ganito eh. Then I begin to understand my wife's psyche even more.
Mm-mm.
So I appreciate that and I grow in love for her. So importante yung ganung klaseng conversation and ongoing conversation in a relationship.
Paano yung ano? Kasi you're basically talking from an ideal setting eh. So what can you say to women watching now who have been married for a long time and then they've kind of lost respect for their man? Siguro kasi hindi rin nagsushow ng love yung husband. So how is it possible for a wife to submit to the husband when she has lost respect? How does she regain it?
Wow.
Hirap yan eh. How does she regain it? Oo.
Siguro importante rin malaman how did the man lose the respect.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't know how he lost it, how would he be taught to gain it back? In other words, babalik pa rin ako if I were in that situation. Mararamdaman mo naman yan, lalo na sa scenario mo, Doc. Medyo matagal na silang married. It pays for that moment that both must capture yung honest discussion. Huwag nating patatagalin until umabot na rin sa losing respect because mawala na yung saysay ng relationship.
Nice. Okay, those are very helpful insights. So now I will go. Yes, Paolo?
I think admitting one's mistake, particularly the man. I think that...
kaya lang women nanonood nito eh.
Hindi.
Gusto mo panood ko sa men.
It works both ways naman, 'di ba?
Okay.
So, lalo na pag magaling yung babae. Minsan it just takes sorry to make us gain your respect. And sometimes from a man's point of view naman, pag inadmit na mali ako kaysa taasan ko pa yung pride niya, 'di ba?
Pride niya.
So, or pairalin ko pa yung ego ko, how would I gain the respect of myself? So I guess humbling oneself actually gains a lot of respect. It's a starting point. I wouldn't say it's the silver bullet, but admitting one's mistake, humbling oneself, and then forgiving each other, I guess is a big step towards reconciliation and regaining respect.
Yeah. So ano yun, no? It's really about submitting to one another in humility. Oo. Okay, so I now proceed to the juiciest topic of our evening, our discussion.
Come on, Kuya Bon, you can do it.
So,
I'm way
okay.
past it.
I'm going to ask the big question, which I've never asked any man. Please help the women understand. Help us understand how important sex is in a man's life. Is it part of your conquering nature, or
It's like magkaiba men are like you switch the men, that's it. It's open already. The light's open. You switch the women, it takes time. Like so, for men, it's more of physiological and starts from the mind. That's it. It's so fast. Right? It's so fast. I mean, you cannot understand why they want it so fast or they want it too often. You cannot understand it because that's the nature. That's how we were wired. And if we were not wired that way, maybe we will lack the aggressiveness. We will lack the. We won't have the boldness. We will not have the kind of traits that you're looking for a man.
Yeah, the masculine hormones.
Yes, the hormones. It's actually
need to come out. Yes,
our hormones are designed that way to give us that boost of energy.
So it's really important to you. Can I hear from the other men?
Well, for me, I think it depends on your stage in life. Because when you're younger, of course you'll need, kung bata ka pa. Pero as you mature, I should say, it's not as important that you need it so often, but you still need it. But it's not to the point where I remember when I was young, maybe in my mid-20s, talaga parang you need it more frequent. But now when you're like middle-aged, let's say middle-aged, you still look for it, but it's not really that important. I think for me, younger, it was more about the physical need, like what Boni was saying, like the physiology, because that's what you feel. But as you grow, as you mature, you learn how to control that, and you learn how to. I say it's more of a mind thing, like what Boni said. It's more of a mind thing. It's really what you call self-control. Because there are some people I know, some who are divorced, especially in the States. All of a sudden, they were in a marriage, and they didn't get what they wanted sexually. It was repressed. So when they got divorced, that was the grounds for divorce, because he was looking for more frequent. So what happens was, now this guy's around 50, 45. He's doing like a teenager. I go, wait, what happened to this guy? And it's basically
because na-repress siya, na-suppress pala, na-suppress.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because Boni is in his 70s, it's still important to him.
Yeah, actually, if the man is healthy, this is one thing. No,
yeah,
I noticed if the man is healthy, he goes to the gym, he exercises, he's able to maintain his hormones, especially the testosterone. It's because the testosterone is the one that helps you build muscles.
Yes.
So if the man is maintaining his muscles, the body keeps on producing testosterone. And
for men,
for men, testosterone is important for men to have his aggressiveness, his outlook in
sexual
life.
drive.
He wakes up with excited to do something. When he loses the testosterone, he changes. He changes his the way he looks at things. Like he wants to sleep, he wants to just sit down, watch TV. If your man is that kind of person who wants to do things, who excited, expect that his testosterone level is still up. That is science. That's not like spiritual, it's science.
Mm-mm.
Expect that the testosterone level is up, especially if he goes to the gym. Expect and he builds muscles. Expect that. That's why I recommend to men keep on exercising, because that will help you maintain your hormones. After the exercise, you will notice you're happy. Why? Because of the endorphins.
Oh.
So balance your hormones by doing all of these things. But your problem is you will have a lot of sex drives pa rin. And it's either a problem or a good thing. Depends. There are guys who can maintain their hormones because they go to the gym, they exercise, which is a good thing. Because if he maintains his hormones, his countenance will be good. He's aggressive. He plans. He does all. He wants to accomplish more things. That is what a man should be. But if he does not maintain it, he loses his steam. He wakes up in the morning, wants to sleep more. It depends, actually. But if he's the kind of man who's aggressive, he needs sex because of his hormones.
What if I have a follow-up question now. What if men are as healthy as you are, and you have the drive, and the wife has it's not the same?
It must be discussed.
What will the wife do? What does the wife? It must be discussed.
It must be discussed because the problem is when the guy thinks that he needs it, and then the woman. I watched this in nagkaroon ako ng mga, and the woman diminishes sex. You know what I mean? The woman diminishes sex through his language, like wala yan. And the man feels it kasi parang it's physiological to a man, and the woman says wala yan. Then there's going to be a conflict. But it can be managed the way the husband and wife discusses it. It can be managed.
Any other comments?
Magdadagdag lang ako dun sa point mo, Doc. No? I think
Yes.
I'm not contradicting si Kuya Bon. What I'm saying lang is men our age, 60 and above, would like to exercise, have a lot of testosterone going on, not just for sex. Because there's already a medical conclusion that adult males 60 and below think about it and do it more frequently than those above. So in other words, I think we were designed na at some point in your life, sex takes a back seat. It doesn't make it less important. But you have other things that you want to...
But it's important.
But it remains important. But in a hierarchy of your needs, it's probably going lower and lower the totem pole. So babalik ulit tayo sa conversation. Paano kung ang healthy ng isang partner, yung isa hindi? I mean, do you exercise because you're ready, you still want that? What if the spouse is no longer as driven as you are? So kailangan pa rin pag-usapan. So exercise may lead to that, but it's not the only thing that men... Baka mamaya makakita tayo naman kasi edad namin ni Boni nasa gym, sasabihin ng mga, yan, may gusto yan mamaya. Kaya nag-exercise siya. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't think it's about that. Hindi lang yan. Di ba, Kuya Bon?
Okay. I have a very sensitive question in relation to that.
Kasi all the different ages, we have to cover it. So, the difference will be there. The man is aggressive, and it's like a switch. The woman is not. It takes for a woman a long time to want it.
Okay, So I'm going to ask a very sensitive question because I want you to answer this for the women to hear. Knowing that it's important, sex is important for the husbands. What does it do to you when the wife turns you down? What does it do to you? Anong effect nun sa inyo?
Well, maybe here. How about I revert the question to women? What if we reject the woman's advances? How would you feel?
No, I'm doing the interview eh. So you're supposed to answer the question.
I think
ako sa age
Nice
bracket pa din, if you have a life map, so to speak, your response, your reaction, my experience would be different within that journey. In other words, when you've been into the marriage between 5-10 years, I mean, ang sakit naman nun. Bakit? Di ba sinasabi nga, women must not use sex as a tool to get back to her husband or to draw something in return. So kailangan klaro yon sa onset pa lang ng relationship. And then as you go a little bit older to the age of Kuya Bon and myself, you get to be more understanding because there's also a physiological difference in the body of the woman. And she probably also her reasons for denying is also different when she was 20 versus when she's 60. Kasi meron na siya talagang difference. So I guess, again, babalik ulit tayo. Napaka-importante talaga ng dialogue, yung conversation na yun, yung communication.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to know, kasi Dominic is single now, no? And knowing that sex is important to a man, what's your take on premarital sex?
Well, to tell you the truth, before it was especially in the States, you don't even think about it because it's basically showing. It depends. It expresses the love for another. In fact, I know there's some guys there in the States when they're younger, they use it as a tool. Like, well, do you love me? Well, express it. But now, as I'm a believer now, I don't really believe in. I know I'm going to say this, but it's going to be hard for guys to. But I don't really do premarital sex anymore. It's more of my belief. I'm a believer now. That in fact it's a sin. And now I think for me, my energy is focused on something else because I think sexual drive is some form of energy that you need to redirect. I mean, for me, that's how I direct my, for example, if I have some passion or especially when I'm single right now, it's basically, I'm just think of something else or I redirect my energy to do something else, like what I'm doing right now in terms of I'm involved in a lot of businesses that basically put my sexual energy to a different place.
Okay. Do you believe that sex happens before sex?
Well, sex is in the mind. It all
Okay,
begins
so
in the
it
mind.
starts, parang it prepares, parang sex happens before the actual sex.
Right. You know what it is? First of all, sex involves what we call foreplay. Foreplay begins in the mind. You don't just all of a sudden just start doing the act of sex. There's a big foreplay, and women love foreplay. Foreplay begins.
Kaya lang a lot of women don't understand. Like, kunyari, they've had an argument with their husband. Tas mamaya, the husband wants to, have sex with them. They don't understand that. Kasi we're very emotional eh. Parang ayusin muna natin yung away natin. Oo. You know where I'm coming from, di ba? So parang men are wired differently eh. So it's really a need for men. And I think women need to understand that. I'm not siding with the men, but I know that this is how God designed men. Okay. So how would your woman, okay, kunyari, ako yung woman ninyo, how would I make my husband fulfilled or satisfied in all aspects? How would your wife make you fulfilled or satisfied? In one sentence.
In terms of what?
In all aspects. Like in
all
your
aspects.
whole being, you as a person. How will your woman, how will your wife make you fulfilled or satisfied?
I like
I
to
think,
try.
yeah. I think when the man feels that he is like the best person or the best
hero?
husband. Yeah.
He's the hero?
Yeah, he's like not exactly the hero, but something like that.
Something like that. Oo. Parang hero in the eyes of the woman.
Yeah. Parang ganun.
Kahit na hindi.
Kahit na hindi, kahit na hindi.
Oo.
Kasi parang yun ang fulfillment di ba? Yun ang fulfillment niya
Oo. Tama. Ego pa rin, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Jay?
Sorry, yung question mo is how will women make their men feel fulfilled? Okay, so siguro I will summarize that into 4. One is women should make their man feel appreciated.
Okay.
Second, they should let go of their man, let their men lead.
Okay.
They should men should be respected in all aspects, as you've mentioned, like timing and the banner of delivery when the wife wants something for us to do. And lastly, the 4th one will be I will term it like energized, and that is the need for sex.
Okay. Wow. Parang sinamarize mo na lahat
Parang ganun nga.
Oo. O sige, baka meron pang idadagdag yung mga ibang men dito. How would your woman make you fulfilled or satisfied?
Ako very practical lang gusto ko sabihin.
Yes, Paolo.
Verbalize. We're not mind readers. So let us know. Kasi my wife tried dropping hints and to the point that she gets frustrated. And I have to tell her, hey, I have a lot in my mind and sometimes you have to spell it out for me. I would love to serve, I would love to satisfy you, etc. But sometimes there is this mentality among women who says, kasi if I ask for it, wala nang value. Sometimes gusto ko, nasusurprise ako. Or getting something that I did not ask for just makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
So then, probably you got to be more patient about dropping the hints or making it more obvious. Kasi
so verbalize.
Talaga, manhid kami di ba? So,
oo nga.
we're running circles around us and then we still don't get it. Pero communication is key. Communication is key. I cannot overemphasize.
Direct to the point.
Yeah.
Kailangan yung sabihan.
I can see the videos of every man in here. We were all nodding when Paolo was saying that.
Oo nga. So verbalize. Yeah, tama nga naman. Kasi kala namin, para sometimes we see you as women that we can read we have intuition We somehow know what people are thinking. Siguro gano'n naman kami, Ward. Kayo sa amin naman mga babae, hindi namin maintindihan. Bakit hindi nila magets? So, yon. So, okay. So, I will be asking each one of you, just to end this discussion, what is the role of God in your marriage? What is the role of God in your marriage? Meron bang role si God sa marriage ninyo?
Yes.
Let's start off with Paolo. Sige, Paolo.
I'll read from the Bible. The best description that I have. He is the active third party in our marriage.
Okay.
And
So
I will
he's the
quote
active
from,
third party. Okay.
I will quote from Ecclesiastes 4 verse 12. A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. So, naniniwala kami dun eh. If not for God, we probably would have what? Pulled off, etc., whatever you call it. Pero hindi, nandun siya. Siya yung unifying factor.
Okay. Jay?
Somehow related to what Paolo mentioned, not third party, but God for us in our marriage is the center of our relationship. So he is really at the center of our relationship. And I'm taking that also from the Bible, and because Christ loved the church, he gave himself for the church. Like, man, I should be loving my wife that I can give up my own life to my wife. And that is coming from Ephesians 5:25.
Nice. Okay. Dominic, in your future marriage,
Well,
marriage.
I've learned from my past marriages, basically, you cannot be unevenly yoked. Because you need, for
what
example,
does that mean?
Meaning your partner should also believe, and also believe in God is the center of your marriage.
Okay, so God is important
Very
for
important.
you in your future marriage.
Yes.
If you're gonna get married.
Yes.
Okay. So Ed, can we hear from you? What is the role of God in your marriage?
Let me answer that differently. I can't imagine being married for close to 40 years without God in the center
Why?
of our marriage.
Why?
Because, as I was saying earlier, we are two imperfect people united by a perfect God. And we need His being to guide us and to always mediate, to save, to keep us calm and at peace. At points in my life, going back in our the happiest moments in my married life are those moments when I am closest to the Lord. The feeling is different. It's different.
Parang the more you move closer to God, the more you move closer to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, hello, yeah.
Yeah, so the more you move closer to
yun,
God, the more you move closer to each other. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And lastly, Boni?
Yeah.
You've been the longest married here eh.
Yeah, sige. There will be no perfect marriage. Sabi nga ni Ed, no? Imperfect bawat isa. So, God gave us a lot para ma-perfect natin. So, one thing is we cannot perfect it, but God perfected it. Through His love, God loved us. And then He gave us forgiveness. So yun ang magmamatter because we will never be able, kahit na pag-aralan natin yan, mag-consult tayo, magbasa na tayo, lahat ng libro na na isulat tungkol sa marriage, still we cannot perfect our marriage. Why?
Yeah.
Because we're imperfect people. So, ang binigay ni Lord is love and forgiveness.
Mm-mm.
If we draw closer, yun lang talaga, draw closer to Him. Marami kaming away. We haven't perfected it, and we will never be able to perfect it. But we pray together, and when we pray together, wala na, kalimutan mo na, okay na rin. Kahit ano pa, you will overcome everything.
Tama. Wow, I'm so blessed to be with this wonderful men tonight. So there you are, women. You've heard the voice of this man, and hopefully you've picked up some pointers and lessons from them. So watch out for the next episode. This time, I will be interviewing women and ask them what they wish men knew about women. So thank you for joining us today on He Said, She Said with Dr. Q.